Hello, my name is Alan, and today I am facilitating the fourth of 5 sessions of Fate of Cthulhu. Specifically, we're using the Rise of Nyarlathotep framework for this. This game was organized as part of the Gauntlet RPG community's monthly calendar. If you don't know about the Gauntlet, then please do look us up, Gauntlet-RPG, in any reputable search engine, and you will find us and what we do. If you'd like to know more about the Gauntlet, then I refer you back to probably the first session of this series or the first session of any other series in my channel. We're playing Fate of Cthulhu, so it is conceivable this could get a bit dark. So we are playing with some safety tools. We're playing with lines, veils, the X card. We're operating the open door, which is just the capacity to step away from the table for whatever reason. And we're also playing within the Gauntlet community's code of conduct. And you can find more of that again if you follow that link to the Gauntlet webpage. We're missing one player tonight because we also have at the Gauntlet what we call the open table. So sometimes stuff comes up, people have to step away from the table. I didn't on this occasion recruit a fourth player to sit in that seat because I'm fairly confident that our fourth player will be back next time. Let us introduce the players and ask them something about their characters. So can I go left to right? Can I start, Lowell, by asking you to say hello and tell us something about Nessa Al-Gumari and perhaps some highlight from last time?
So my name's Lowell, pronouns he, him, and I'm running Nessa Al-Gumari, she, her, who is essentially a practical effects specialist, both for stage and film, video, and also magician's tricks and things like that. And she's gotten increasingly worried and freaked out about our time traveler, Professor Quinn, who has, while providing us with a good deal of the briefing info that Rook has seconded, has seemed increasingly unhinged, and I'm uncertain about his agenda in terms of stopping all this. And that ended up last time with me pointing a gun in his face, and it went okay, but I have I don't know if I could have actually shot him, but I'm going to be more certain going forward. So that's where I am.
Oh, well, there's a suspicion to stoke then. Moving along, Will, say hello and tell us something about Agent Rook.
Hi, I'm playing Agent Rook, pronouns he, him, who is a anti-mythos agent of the illegal conspiracy Delta Green, who was told about the mission to stop the apocalypse by his own future self, who was sent back with Professor Avery Quinn. And Rook, I suppose, is rubbing off on Nessa the wrong way, given that she's now looking at killing her own teammates. Yeah, but he is go to any lengths to stop the apocalypse. And he has discovered that firepower may not be the answer last session.
Yeah, that Shoggoth was a tough nut to crack. Yes, he does have an aspect called paranoid with a reason. Nessa is paranoid with a very specific reason. As I say, Professor Avery Quinn will not be with us today, but if the players will trust me, I have I think a neat idea for that. And finally, Callum, say hello and tell us about Illtyd Aderin McFee.
Did someone say firepower? So Illtyd Aderin McFee is a fisherman who, after losing his son at sea, maybe in weird circumstances, after having a time traveler land on his fishing boat, all this led to him at the end of last session into wielding a flamethrower against an army of clones who happen to be clones of someone he befriended along the way, Hassan. And he's really confused about what is going on. And I think it's really time for him to look further into what might have happened to his son. Pronouns he, him.
And I don't think I said my pronouns are he, him. I would like to hard frame us, if you will allow me, to just each of you wakes. And your view of the world around you is constrained to 2 circular holes in front of your face. There is bright sunlight outside, and it's dry. Nessa, what do you do? Oh, you are muted.
I'm tasting the air and running my tongue around my lips. I'm trying to get any other kind of sensory input to place myself to tell me if I'm in a hallucination or dream, anything of that kind.
I mean, your North African origin tells you that you can taste the desert. Agent Rook, what do you do?
Rook bites his lip hard enough for it to bleed, to see whether to test the very same thing.
And you taste that coppery saltiness of blood in your mouth. McFee, what about you?
I mean, we restrained our arms. McFee gonna try to pull his arms if they are restrained. Otherwise, he's gonna put his hand to his face and try to remove whatever mask he has on.
He does indeed have a mask on his face. It appears to be a carved wooden mask with just a piece of wood across the back to keep it on your face. But there is nothing restraining you, nothing to stop you taking that mask off.
I take the mask off.
Let me go back round. You can taste the desert, Nessa. What do you do?
I'm going to reach into my pocket, like kind of pull out my wallet, look for a real basic compact that I have with like tools and things like that, and slowly take that out so I can get at the mirror.
So kind of doing this by touch.
Yeah.
So you can bring the mirror up in front of you.
Yeah, it's my goal.
Okay. And what about you, Rook? What do you do now that you've tasted your blood in your mouth?
Now that I know it's not a dream, I reach up and pull the mask off as McFee did, and I look around me for threats of my companions.
Okay. McFee, you look around, or do you look at the mask? What do you do?
Yeah, I throw the mask away and I look around.
The mask settles. It's the face of your son. Nessa, what do you see in the mirror?
I think I'm probably seeing my brother, who also was tracking down that magic trick, and he never came back.
And Agent Rook, you're looking around for threats. I will describe broadly: bright light, bright light, open from above, a vast colonnade of columns in a bright white stone. And at the far end, you can see a wall, which you know that the way that sometimes stuff appears pixelated, you can't quite make out the detail. And there is someone standing in front of the wall. Let me go back round to McFee. What do you do, McFee?
Now that I see the depiction of my son, I run towards the mask and hold it and look at it closely.
I think you've self-compelled there, because I would have compelled you to do it. So you can add a fate point for going after the mask. It is a very lifelike, carved face of your son, your lost son.
I look around, I look into it, I knock a bit on it, try to work out it. So it's lifelike, but it's in wood.
It's a carved wooden mask, but it is obviously your son, painted to resemble him. So it's not, you know, it's not a perfect representation, but there's no mistaking who it is.
Okay.
What do you do?
I mean, I try to examine it, look if there's something in it, and yeah, and I look around confused.
Nessa, you're still wearing the mask of your lost brother.
I was expecting a horror or something of that kind. This is much worse, and I think I will wrench that off and fling it as hard as I can in whatever direction my arm takes it, just throwing it.
And it splinters when it hits one of these many columns.
Good.
You're in the middle of. Rook?
Rook glances down at the mask in his hand to see what it was carved as.
It is his older self.
I let it drop, and I check if I've got my gear on me, and then I walk towards this figure.
Yes, you are equipped for action. You know, last time was pretty heavy action. Quite how you got here, you're uncertain, but there is a figure. McFee, Rook is striding purposefully towards a figure, perhaps 100 paces away, standing in front of this. It's difficult to look at that wall.
I keep the mask in hand, and I'm gonna run behind Rook.
Nessa?
If I see them or hear them, then I think I spot Rook, I spot McFee, and at that point, I am looking around for Quinn.
Yeah, I think notice against 4.
Okay, get that there. Let's reroll those two. So that's a 2 plus my notice is 3, so that's a 5.
That is success. You see someone you think is Avery Rook running. Because of the way the columns are arranged, there's no simple line of sight. So you think Avery Quinn is over that way, running away from you 3.
Well, I'm going to get my gun out, and I'm going to move that way, and I'm going to say, in my best trying to be like Agent Rook kind of thing, it probably comes out a little dry-throated and crackly, but I'm like, I have eyes on Quinn.
Great. Rook, you're approaching, you're getting close now to this wall, because I get the feeling that you're walking briskly, or are you sneaking? I should have perhaps checked.
No, I think it's such a wide open space. You know, Rook is certain that whoever this figure is knows that they're here, and it's just like pistol out down to the side and just briskly walking forwards. You know.
Okay. I think as you get closer, it becomes apparent this is a larger than man-sized person. This person is probably 8 or 9 feet tall, maybe taller than that, given that they are wearing quite an ornate headdress.
Stop a good, you know, like shooting distance away rather than going straight up to them.
So what, 20, 30 paces?
That sounds about right. Yeah.
What about you, McFee?
I think I would bump into the back of Rook if I catch up with him. Like I was running so fast and not paying attention, so I'm bumping into you.
Nessa, are you going to chase down Avery? Then, you've heard the shout, and Nessa has gone off into these columns. It's not maze-like, but it is confusing. Trying to keep your eyes on your target. I think it is a question of, I think it's notice again. I just want to know whether you're closing or not, or whether they've kind of kept ahead of you.
That's another 5.
Well, I mean, this is just rolling. You're closing. You have a line of sight. Do you take the shot?
I say, Quinn, stop.
Back at the wall, Rook, McFee kind of bumps into the back of you. What are you doing?
I like steady McFee. I take a step to I take a brisk like one step away from him, and I ready the gun, and I'm like, hey.
This might be the time to tell you that the wall defies space. The wall is made up of what, first of all, you think dozens of, and then hundreds of, and the more you look, the more it multiplies. Thousands of faces. And the figure is in the process of just taking one of them, reaching towards one of them and putting it to its face. It doesn't respond.
Where's Nessa? I thought I heard her.
Shit, where is Nessa? I don't know. Like, I don't. What do you think we should do, McFee?
McFee's a bit in a panic. Look, Rook, look at this mask. That's my son. That's a depiction of my son. What do you think it means?
I have no idea, McFee.
Do you think he landed on an island and the natives think he's some kind of god and they started making effigies at him? I mean, he had an awesome bod like I do, but...
Well, I can see only one person to ask, McFee.
I look around. Whoa!
I point towards the huge figure working with the masks in front of us.
Nessa, thank you, Agent Rook, for the reminder. I think you have self-compelled. I'm worried about Quinn's fascinations because they mirror my own obsessions. Get a fate point. And Avery doesn't stop. They're running away from you.
Pop, pop, pop. 3 shots to the brain pan.
Okay. Let's have your shoot against Quinn's athletics, which is 0.
Well, that's a 4.
So that is 4 points of harm. So I am going to, oh gosh, I've just noticed bloodied is already marked. I have no option but to allot a moderate consequence of wounded to Quinn in order to absorb those 4 points of harm.
I imagine that shot echoes.
It does, which may answer Rook's question of, where's Nessa?
I think
I shout, stay down.
Yeah, Rook will go running towards, will glance over at this big man and then just run towards wherever the gunshots were.
Just as the big man turns round.
Oh.
Still running?
I raise the gun at him and I say, why are we here?
I thought it was time that we met. And I had an offer to make to friend McFee.
Okay,
an offer?
Wouldn't you like to see your son again other than as a mask? He speaks, though he gives the impression of being an ancient Egyptian mummy, he speaks with a cultured English accent.
Well, what could you do about that posh guy?
And he kind of just looks up and he says, "Ah, yes, there he is. It would be so easy to find him with my help."
You can't trust him, McFee.
Yeah, you sound like bad genies in that crappy horror movie I saw once called Wishmaster. It's... What's the deal?
A simple deal, McFee. You just have to make sure that Quinn brings me the trapezohedron that you took from the Reverend Roy.
No, no, I don't think so. I think I'll find my son on my own. I'm not an idiot. If you got that thing, I'm toast, and so is my son. So, how good is it for me to find him again if it's for you to burn this place to the ground? Screw you.
I'm going to compel the same aspect I did. Your lost son. You are being offered the power to find him. Will you accept the compel, or will you pay me to make the compel go away?
I will pay you.
Oh, went the crowd. Okay, reduce your fate points by 1. Nessa, Avery goes down, rolls over, and disappears. It felt like she was clutching something they were clutching something to their chest.
I let out a stream of curses, and I'm checking my 4, right? Or is it 8, or is it 6? And looking around to see if he's apparated somewhere nearby or what.
Okay. I keep going back to notice, I'm afraid. Now I think it's 4 because you've got no lead at all.
No.
You can't see
all.
them. You can't see them among this kind of mass of pillars. Plenty of places to hide, it must be said. Rook, you heard the shot, then you stopped.
Seeing Nyarlathotep in front of us, hearing the offer that he's made to McFee and all of that, I think he's making me paranoid.
And
I'd
go on.
Self-compel on that to just shoot him in the face.
Of course. Do shoot what you believe to be an Nyarlathotep in the face. Go for it. Difficulty 3. I think you've got the drop on him.
Okay, I get a total of 8 versus 5, so 3 success, I guess.
3 successes. Success with style. Do you want to apply all of that as harm, or do you want to treat a succeed, but any effort can be traded for boosts rather than stress?
Can I trade 1 for a boost?
You can. So
yeah.
you will apply 2 harm, and you have 1 boost in hand. You don't need to define it until you use it.
Cool.
Nessa.
Do I hear that gunshot now?
You do. You can see that wall, but you can't see the detail of what's happening against it.
I think I have to. So I failed to roll, so I know I'm not going to find him, and I'm just going to get further and further lost. So I think I have to run towards that gunshot as best I can in this echoing room.
Orders, my Emperor, march towards the sound of the guns. And so Nessa heads in the direction of the gunfire. You have turned down the offer. Am I right, McFee? No going back on that. You paid to get the compel to go away. That's when each of you wakes in a Paris hotel room.
I think Rook rolls out of bed, grabs a gun from underneath it, starts checking everything, you know.
You can hear the accordion in the street, like, how you know you're in Paris.
What about Nessa when you wake, Nessa?
Do you have any memory of checking into the hotel?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yeah, you're here to go to the Sorbonne.
Then I know where Quinn's room is,
Yeah.
And I'm going there.
It's next door.
Okay.
I think you insisted on a suite with a connecting door.
Well, then I'm wrenching that door open and checking on him.
It's locked from the other side.
Well, it's a good thing I have a 4 in burglary.
Yeah, I'm not going to make you roll for that. You quickly, poke the key that they've left in the lock on the other side and open it. The bed has been slept in, but there is no sign of Quinn.
Okay. Now I just need to make sure that Rook still has the trapezohedron. Okay. Then I will be a little more quiet and circumspect now and go to find Rook and McFee.
And you will find Rook and McFee, but you won't find the trapezohedron.
We have to assume the worst.
And I describe what happened. I suspect that he called on it in whatever vision we were in.
Well, shit.
What happened? What does that mean? I don't understand.
Quinn's in the wind. McFee. We don't know where he is. He's got the gem, and
what, the Trapezohedron?
Yeah, the trapezoid.
Insane trapezoid.
We have to find him, but we have to do the mission as well.
I think we have to do the mission first, because if he's got that subtrackable Zedron, then I don't think we're going to be able to find him unless he wants to be found, unless they want to be found.
I think we can. I can find anyone.
Well, you said that, but I'm still waiting for your help to find my son. Huh?
And I point at McFee.
Yeah.
Boom. Let's take care of figuring out what's up with these mummies, and then we'll work on Quinn.
Do you think this tall guy will be? They got a pyramid here, and I heard they got mummies in there. So maybe he's in there somewhere with the other mummies.
Nyarlathotep.
Wait, they have a pyramid in Paris?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all shiny and glass, and they got pyramids in there. It's not a real Egyptian pyramid, but they got mummies in there.
It's in the
I
fourth court
thought you were the smart one.
I know the Louvre has the glass thing. I thought you meant like a real pyramid. I didn't know if Napoleon stole it as well.
Don't be ridiculous. No, they don't have real pyramids here.
Can I just make sure we're all on the same page in terms of why you're in Paris? So the bottom line is that when what both future Rook, the dead future Rook, and Avery Quinn told you was that when Nyarlathotep rose, everyone who was killed in an attempt to stop Nyarlathotep rose again as one of the faceless. Dressed exactly the same, but their face just kind of wiped away. And future historians from the 2030s, when you've traveled back, when Quinn has traveled back from, I linked those faceless creatures to a legend dating back to Sumeria, which mentions the faceless mother. 2017, French archaeologists find 22 mummies in southern Egypt, northern Ethiopia, I guess, in the vicinity of Khartoum, perhaps, I don't know. That's Sudan, not Ethiopia, forgive me. CAT scans revealed the skulls to be literally faceless. The paper that was published on it suggested that perhaps the faces of the skulls had been sanded smooth or in some way dissolved smooth, but it appears to be solid bone, so it's difficult to explain, but that's the joy of science. Also reported as being found with the mummies was, and I quote, a papyrus sheet written in both Greek and Old Nubian. It was supposed to have an Egyptian ritual spell, was the way that the academic paper described it, to summon, find, or allow passage to the faceless mother. The exact details never made it into the paper. The scroll and the mummies were taken back to the archaeology department of the Sorbonne in Paris, which is why you're in Paris. In 2020, that is where they and the papyrus sheet are located. The mission objectives that future Agent Rook confided to Rook and Avery confided to all of you is that if you can destroy the faceless mother, whoever that is, then Nyarlathotep will not be able to rely on the literally millions and in the end tens of millions of faceless as his shock troops. So putting aside for the moment the fact that Quinn appears to have done a runner, what do you do? Let's start with Nessa.
We know that the archaeology department here at the Sorbonne has the mummies, has the scroll, likely also has the wooden Fayum portraits that were on them, which of course echoes what we just saw. I assume we all saw that. Yeah,
you all saw the same thing. Yeah.
So right now, what time of year is it now?
What time of year do you want it to be? What would be convenient to you? Dramatically necessary. It's always summer in Mississippi, but it needn't be summer in Paris.
I think the most important thing for me is that there are some classes in session,
okay,
which makes it easier for us to get around.
So fall and autumn,
yeah,
nice in Paris.
Fine. Oh, autumn in Paris, beautiful. I have no idea where the archaeology department is the bit of the Sorbonne I have behind me, but we are going to assume that it is.
So let's recon, see what we can determine about where these objects are and who's involved with them and what our means of access can be.
That sounds like investigate, and I think you're all pretty good at that. So I don't see why I shouldn't let each of you have an investigate against a simple 2 and build one on t'other. So let's start with Nessa then, as it was Nessa's idea.
Well, actually, I'm going to let Rook start because that certain discoveries may modify my approach.
Fine, and you are our burglarizer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So Rook, yeah, you're the investigator,
Yes.
professionally.
Yeah, more like the murderer professionally, I suppose. But we see Rook. I think he goes in and cases the joint as a visitor, and he is scoping out security guards' movements, the exhibits, the layout, things like that, and trying to work out who should be here and who shouldn't be here.
Okay, so using the public spaces to get a sense of the lie of the land. Okay, this sounds like you're wanting to create an advantage that you'll be able to exploit later. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, that seems fair, yeah.
Or because then it's kind of non-specific.
Yeah, that seems very fair.
Okay, so create an advantage with investigate, unless you want to throw something else at it.
No, I mean, I think that's as good as notice would be. So it's the same skill, so I'll go with investigate. Oh, that is a 4.
Against 2 is success. So create an advantage is succeed. You get a free invoke on the aspect, good sense of layout. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
With a free invoke. Let me go next to McFee then, if we leave, and we'll leave Nessa till last. McFee, what are you interested in finding out?
I'm gonna lurk the different cafe. I mean the surroundings of the Sorbonne. They got a lot of bars on the left bank, the rive gauche, where students like to meet. So I'm gonna go around those and try to find where one where there are students from the archaeology department, and I'm gonna try to look a bit interested in what they're doing, and gonna offer them some drinks. I'm gonna have drinks with them, and I'm gonna invoke my aspect, last man standing, because I will drink them all to death. And in the process, during the evening, hopefully, I will have find out something from them.
Okay, so again, sounds like investigate, but it sounds like you're after some specific information rather than an advantage. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is using investigate to overcome. I think that the difficulty, I have to say, a late middle-aged bald fisherman in a student bar on the left bank, I think that difficulty is 3.
Oh, that's okay. 3. So let me roll. Go. Oh, come on. Okay, this dice roller is terrible. That's official.
So that was -4, just for our many viewers. So you can always invoke an aspect to get a reroll.
Oh, is that now that I can invoke last man standing then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So reduce your fate points by 1, and you get a reroll. Because you can drink callow youths under the table twice over and have the capacity left over to do another one.
French archaeologist, give me a break. Okay, so that's 0 plus my +2 investigate.
So that's against a 3. You're currently failing. Now, remember that you can fail. What it means is that you can succeed at a cost.
Oh, I'm going to succeed at a cost. Yeah.
Okay. They are going to tell somebody at the department there was this weird Scottish, Irish, Welsh, Celtic fringe guy asking all these strange questions. So I think as soon as you open your mouth in the archaeology department, I think that somebody's going to put 2 and 2 together. So that is the cost. But ask me a question. What do you want to know? What was all that drinking for?
I want to learn about the layout of where those mummies are, like where they are stored. So what the department looks like.
Okay, I'll give you that. If you can get from the public spaces where Rook has a good layout to the department proper, you will be able to find the mummies. Right. And just because I'm feeling generous, they will tell you that the stuff that they found with them is kept in a kind of hermetically sealed set of containers to help them survive. Yeah. Cool. But I am gonna put a situation aspect, which is McFee will be spotted ... with 1 free invoke for me. Yeah, if it comes to it. Nessa, given what you have learned,
if we have this narrowed down to a smaller location, then at that point, I am going to use my burglary essentially to case the joint. And I want to, go through there. I want to see the alarms. I want to do all of the burglary prep work that one would do to get into the area and have everything planned out for.
So create an advantage with burglary, it sounds like.
That's what I would like to do.
I think, okay, so 2 was the public area, 3 was talking to students. I think, technical specification that you can spot on the various panels that you see around the place without getting noticed. I think that might be 4. No, I'm going to make it 3. It's 3.
All right. Well, that is a 6.
Well, success with style.
I have no problem with this roller.
So I'm going to put knows the system, and because it was a success with style, you will get 2 free invokes on that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you know what you need to get through the security system, you think. You've got a good layout of the public spaces, which will be relatively easy to get into, and probably not enormously difficult to get into after hours. And you've narrowed down with McFee's help where these mummies are stored.
We need to still get a list of the people on the team, of the personnel. If anything's missing or anything like that, we need to be ready to move on to them.
I don't think it would be difficult. I'm not going to make you roll for that. I think that Google will tell you that. You can check the names on the academic paper from 2017-18 against current members of staff. And universities are very keen these days to publish research interests. So you will find a Professor Emily Duval is the team leader, and her principal assistant is Dr. Gilles Auder.
Rook, can you run the team and like archaeology personnel against Starry Wisdom?
Sure. I'd reach out to the Delta Green network, and I run the names up against my contacts.
Fine. So, yeah.
You can use the Starry Wisdom aspect.
Yeah, I'm just because I'm in Delta Green, I can use contacts instead of resources to get equipment or cooperation, but only if I spend a fate point. Is that what we're talking about?
Oh no, I meant more as in knowledge of the right people and connections. You know, it can just be my investigate if you prefer.
No. Connections is fine. I just thought you were aiming for the stunt as a backup. So
it didn't feel high stakes enough for that.
Okay. So contacts it is. So difficulty, I think, is probably 3.
3.
It's a shame you didn't just rip off their system before you nuked the building.
Yes, that would have been good, but needs must. That is a +4.
+4.
No, it's minus the difficulty, so it's only a 1.
Okay, so success.
But I will invoke the Church of the Starry Wisdom is in decline just to get a resistance tick on the box.
Okay, then mark a resistance success on your track, and spend a fate point, and
that's
yeah,
3 now, I guess. So.
None of them come up on your sketchy network as being associated with Starry Wisdom.
Okay.
There is, an outstation of the Church of Starry Wisdom in Paris, as there is in most European capitals.
But nothing comes up in relation to these two and their immediate kind of associations.
No, cool. There are no flags marked against them in the Delta Green archive.
You know, most people don't know this shit exists.
Well, here's my suggestion. I suggest we do a preliminary pass tonight with the idea of going in and just doing a checking out of these things. See if we can spot them. If we can take them easily, that's great. Or destroy them easily, that's great. But this all makes me a little nervous, given that what just happened to us at the start of this. Like he knows we're here.
If you weren't nervous already, you weren't paying attention, Nessa. But if we see the chance tonight, we take it. The scroll should be priority 1. Because even McFee can't carry 22 mummies out with him.
Are we supposed to destroy the mummies?
I'm not sure, but from what I've been told, that there are millions of these things in the future. Everything they kill gets up and kills. And I don't know if these are significant, but the magic stuff, I don't know.
Masks, mummies. We'll make an inventory, and I will prepare pyrotechnics, essentially, to things to burn these things.
It's all fine and nice, Rook, but no later than this morning, you were claiming that you could find anyone. Have you looked into my son?
People are looking, McFee. We have
But they
bigger
should
things to do.
Well, my son's probably got something related to that because he was in that dream. The big guy offered me to find him again if I was helpful to him.
I'll offer you anything, McFee. Immortality, power, the secrets of the universe, your son, anything.
Well, I'm just asking for my son, so tell your people to work harder.
Sure, McFee.
So, I'm just thinking it's almost 5 to the hour. I think this would be a good place to take our first break.
Yeah.
So, is 7 or 8 minutes okay? Back here on the hour? Okay, I'll see you on the hour. I will pause the recording.
It actually.
Okay, we're back from our break. So, it is now. I wasn't quite sure, Nessa, whether you wanted to go in with the last crowd of visitors to the archaeology museum, or whether you wanted to go in later than that. What do we see?
Let's assume that, having done this case the joint, that I think that it is the last group of visitors going to be my best access in, and essentially getting myself to a concealed place, and then from there being able to get egress, and I'll even burn one of the fate points to the invokes to get Calum and Rook in, not Calum, I'm sorry, McFee and Rook in, just as part of that. Does that seem fair?
Sorry, yeah, I've just, yeah, it does. I've just realised that the good sense of layout was the no layout that I've now duplicated in as an aspect. So we have, we know the public areas have an advantage on that. We know the electronic security system, got 2 invokes on that. However, McFee, if security come across you, he will be recognized as that odd bloke talking to students. So with that in mind, so, this is like those scenes in the White House when somebody is on the tour and just falls off the back of the tour group. So Nessa, let's see how this goes. I think this is burglary.
Okay.
It's an archaeology department. It's not Fort Knox. I think difficulty is 3.
Okay.
Against burglary.
Well, there's where it turns on me, huh?
So minus 3 on the dice as we speak.
I think that I'm going to invoke years working in the back of house and reroll.
Yeah, fine by me. Spend a fate point, get a reroll.
And let's do that. So that's a 4.
Okay.
It's flat.
Yeah, so against difficulty of 3 is success. So without having even to invoke the advantages that you have in play. And so I'm seeing, well, you tell me, what do we see on screen?
I think it is that this is an old building. And I imagine that, I fall back to one of the restrooms. And I think I'm just, classic, I've got something to, even when they open the door, the restroom, if they check the stall, they won't see me. I've got some tricks for that. And I just wait until everything gets all quiet after hours.
Fine. And so you have success. If you wanted then to be, because I wasn't certain whether Rook and McFee were with you, but from what you've just said, you're inside and the objective is to let them in.
I'll spend a fate point just to invoke to do that, if that's okay.
Fine, that's fine.
Okay.
And that gives you the success with style that you get them in. So all three of you are now in the public spaces. No, you've got crossed from the public spaces into the department itself. Now it's a question of finding the right bit of the department after hours.
So McFee and I will go in, and you'll keep watch, Rook.
This is your game, Nessa.
Okay. So I say you ready to go in, McFee?
Oh yeah. Well.
Okay. And you know, I think that's where I'm moving through, you know, popping locks and, you know, watching for general security, and we're making our way into this department.
I think that's probably stealth to avoid any security, or indeed probably late working academics is more likely to be the issue here, I'd have thought. So I think, again, I'm going to make it difficulty 3 because I think it ought to be a challenge.
I'm going to invoke knows the system, one of the two on that.
Yeah.
To reroll. And then I will spend I think I'll invoke the layout with my other point.
Fine.
That is a free invoke, so you could just... Do you need to spend a fate point to
Yeah, no,
invoke that?
that's true. They're both free invokes. Nobody's used the freeze.
Nobody's taking that. Actually, you know what I'm going to invoke rather than that? I'm actually going to spend a fate point to take it to a 4 total, because I think the Faceless Mother is waiting hungrily for us to arrive.
I dare say she might be. So she is doing all she can to make this so easy for you. So then spend the fate point on that, and that will get you to success, I think. Not with style, though, am I right? Or did you reach style?
Right, just success. And I think there is a moment there when we kind of, I'm waiting for people to pass, or I'm popping the lock, and I say, Rook will... I know he is asked about, I know he's put things up the chain, I know he is looking for your son.
I better be, because I turned down that bargain once. I'm not sure I will do it twice.
The bargain's gonna... You already, you know the score. We get through this. You know, if Rook can't find them, then I'll be with you 100%. We'll go and we'll find your son. I promise you that. Oh, got it.
And there you are. You are in the and what's interesting is there's this old building on the outside, but once you get deeper into the department, it's nice white walls, and it's been remodeled inside, and now you are in a room which has more the aspect of a laboratory than it has of mud dirty fingered archaeologists, and I guess at the far end of this space you see a door closing as the last member of the team leaves, perhaps for dinner. They might be back after dinner, of course. And there you can see in this big room these 22 mummies, all in glass cases, or perspex plastic cases. And you can see little lights on the end of them, maintaining the internal environment to preserve them. And at the foot of every one is the mask that was found with them. But there is not in a large kind of finger pointing saying, and here is a papyrus sheet. But that's what you see. And lots of scientific equipment. There might even be a CAT scanner in the corner. Why not?
I say, why don't you see if you can spot the papyrus around or see if there's anything in the records. I'm going to spoof the climate controls, classic burglar style.
Okay.
So what do we see McFee doing in terms of searching for this papyrus?
When he goes around, he starts opening things which seems to be, not obviously secured. Like he would open a desk, a drawer, a desk, some cases, but not a vitrine or something like that.
And you will find in the back of this large space, it's a door labeled in French, secure artifacts. Oh, you are muted.
Le secure artifact.
Yeah, my French is fluent as long as the words are the same.
What I just said, it's perfect French. So I start waving at Nessa. Look here.
Well, I think Nessa's busy. I think Rook is the one who will respond to your obvious excitement.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll slip into the room behind them and just be like, come over and I look to check whether the door is alarmed in any way.
That sounds like burglary to me. Or investigate.
Notice? Even? Just to roll something other than...
Yeah, okay, then let's go with notice. What the heck?
Yeah, it's the same stat as investigate, so it's a meaningless...
Difficulty is 2.
Oh, well, I make that. I make 2.
Okay. It doesn't, but it does appear to have a key lock.
Oh, in fact, I make 4. Sorry, I don't know if that changes anything.
Success by 2.
Yeah. Okay. So it needs a lock. Algamara, you're up.
Nessa, what exactly are you doing with these?
So what I am doing is I am essentially getting those like the little sensors, the hermetic sensors, as you would do if you were like going to remove the case. I am spoofing those, and then I'm doing quick air holes in each one, and then I'm spraying in flammable gas into each compartment. And essentially, I'm setting all of them up to be flammable.
Fine. And I think that's probably crafts, isn't it?
I think it is arts and crafts.
Yeah, absolutely. Difficulty, I think, to do this at pace. That's quite a complex operation, 22 times. I think difficulty is 4 at pace.
It gets easier as it goes along. Well, that is an 8.
There is no beating this woman. That is success with style. So these are primed. Yeah. Again, we'll deal with this the way we dealt with some stuff before, so that when the time comes to press the kind of ignite, we'll have another roll, but you will come at it with advantage. You've done all the proper prep you could.
I will say that should hang. It's a little bit heavier than air. It should hang in there. If we light a fire in this room, it should also ignite all of them eventually. If we have to fall back, just so you know. So just be aware of that. You need me to open the door for you?
I thought McFee might find that Nessa looks busy and try to break in by kicking the door.
Absolutely, because you have no idea how much you don't know.
Rook turns around and goes, "Algamara, you're up," and she's like, one second, and then
exactly.
So physique against a difficulty of, I think it's a reasonably secure door. I think its difficulty is 3.
All right, I got 4 in physique, I think.
Yeah.
Do I?
You do.
Yeah, I do. I lost my Chrome crashed. I need to find the dice. Where is it? The dice roller. It's there.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I got it. I need to type my name. I don't know why you type your name because it doesn't appear.
Do you see there's a little double arrow on the right-hand side? It gives you a record of the rolls.
Oh, okay. So that's a 0 plus 4, 4.
4. So 4 against a difficulty of is success. There's a kind of, hey Nessa, and with leaving a little bit of the lock just hanging by a thread. And inside there's this kind of long closet with lots of drawers. Rook, what do you do with that as Nessa makes her way over?
I start looking through all of the things, trying to find whatever like Dewey Decimal kind of system they've got for filing them away. Looking for the Ethiopia dig. I know the dates and things. So,
from what you can gather, this space is dedicated just to that dig. So all this stuff is relevant.
Then I start just pulling stuff off,
And you will find behind in one of these kind of lockers, again, a kind of sealed perspex box with some what looks like kind of tiny air conditioning stuff attached to the bottom of it. And again, that's that flashing green light saying, maintaining condition. And there's a plug that it plugs into the power supply. And I guess that's where you are when Nessa gets to you. And kind of, what do you, I just imagine Nessa looking at the lock and going, oh.
Okay, well, I guess we're doing everything tonight. Did you find it?
We found it. You're up again, Nessa.
What do you do with it?
And I think I steady McFee before he can rip it off the thing.
All right, Hulk Smash. Let me do this. And I will go up and I will attempt to remove it from its casing.
Okay, I can tell you that, you can see this little battery symbol. So it looks like it is designed to be unplugged from the main supply and then to spend some time at least looking after itself on battery power. Difficult to tell just by looking at it how much battery time it has.
And if the battery exhausts, what happens?
Your guess is that the little air conditioning unit on it will break down that's maintaining the environment inside there. And it would, difficult to say, but your view would be it would be fairly swiftly, it would degrade.
Oh.
And at the minute, it is, it is inverted commas readable.
Can we see it through the glass?
Yeah.
I take out my phone and I take a picture.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see if we can look at it like, oh shit, they're gonna have scans and copies of this everywhere here, right?
Just so I can remind you, your mission objective here is to find the faceless mother and destroy her.
And this is our only lead. So we worry about the cleanup another day. For now, we take this out and we see how we can hunt down whatever this thing is.
I say we take that. We take one of the mummies with the faceplate. I'm serious here, because if it turns out that we need one of them to do this, then we are FUCK'd.
Okay.
And we burn all the rest.
I'm with you on the last part.
We got to take one of them with us.
McFee, you up for carrying something heavy?
This is much more fun if these units that they're in are on wheels.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Find some WD-40. Get those set. You grab the box. I'm gonna set the timer to burn all the rest, and we need to get out of here.
So just so I'm clear, McFee is playing hospital orderly with the trolley. Rook has got the parchment. And Nessa, you are tidying up.
I would like to do a crafts thing beforehand. and this might actually be the second point I want to spend off my invokes or know the system, which is to rig up another battery pack for their air conditioner.
Okay. Yeah. So you've got a reserve battery. Let's have a roll against you. Setting up a battery pack is not difficult. You strip a battery out of a laptop you find, and you do what you do. So difficulty, I think, is just 2.
9.
That is kind of in passing as you're doing something else. Your left hand is just
here. Put this battery on it.
Yeah. So you've got a bit of extra battery life. Fine. Just make it. That's not an aspect, but it's just you've got battery time.
Okay.
And then is the objective for these things to go off in 10 minutes time, in 2 hours time,
in 10 minutes time?
10 minutes.
We want to be because if nothing else, that's going to provide a wonderful distraction.
Okay.
And I also want to do it before anybody comes back from lunch or dinner, because I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Fine. Yeah, absolutely. How are you going to stop anyone walking into the lab?
We'll just jam doors.
Okay.
We'll do, except for our exit door, and even that will, when we step out, I'll spray glue in the lock.
Fine. And so I can see you now heading down a corridor. McFee pushing this trolley, and just for dramatic effect, I think that there's a lab coat draped over the top of it as a complete disguise.
Yeah.
And you're looking for a lift, I think, now to get down a couple of floors, because coming up the emergency fire escape stairs was easy, but taking this down there would be rather trickier.
We've checked the layout. We know where there's like a freight elevator that'll take us to the loading dock.
Now, who's the stealth liability here? I think that's McFee. Oh, sorry, go on.
I wonder who's the stealth liability.
Okay, so McFee, I think this is quite a caravan that we have now leaving. And on your way in, you notice you passed some doors with glass in them. You saw some of the other members of the department working at their desks. So now let's see if anyone notices. I think difficulty is 3, McFee.
And I got 0. I'm just thinking if I've got something which could be useful, which I don't think it's the case. No.
Roll the dice first, then think about it.
Let's roll.
Oh, well, that's, neither win nor lose. 0 on the dice. So that's 0 against 4. Currently, you are failing with style. Have we got any suggestions about how to get a reroll on that, or how to get that up by 4?
Can I spend a fate point on know the layout to give him +2 to kind of push it up? And there's my help with that.
So
there's still a free. Is there still a free invoke on knows the system as well?
I think there's still one on knows the system.
Yeah.
So that gets us +4. Yeah. So we get to a tie. So the tie, let's see.
Unless McFee wants to spend.
Unless I think that the challenge for McFee, whether there's anything appropriate.
Yeah. Let's spend 1 fate point.
To do what?
Oh, sorry. I thought it was for just what Nessa described.
Those were free invokes. So
those were free.
Okay.
And you can't invoke them again on the same roll. So we've used up everything on the table.
Are there any of the timeline aspects we can use?
I'm looking at them.
The faceless mother awaits.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you've milked that one for a little while.
I'd like to invoke the Church of Starry Wisdom is in decline, because we run into someone who should have recognized me because that person's been briefed and all. But it turns out to be a member of the great organization which used to be the Starry Wisdom. But that person is very depressed at the moment, and Maybe he has been drinking a bit too much, moving from Mississippi to Paris. It's quite a change. So that person is quite inebriated when we run into that person.
And you spend a fate point to invoke that, gain a resistance success, and you turn a tie into success. Except I have a free invoke on McFee will be spotted, which I will cash in now to turn this back into a tie. And on a tie, succeed at a minor cost, such as a boost to the opposition. I think that you will be spotted on the CCTV.
That's fine.
Yeah. So some security guard who was talking to some students might just connect what that person with this person.
I would like to now use a stunt I've never had a chance to use. Because there's always a way out, I get +2 on using burglary to create advantage when escaping a situation.
Let's do that thing. So I think this would have been 3. I think because now the security guard has put 2 and 2 together and has a boost in place, I'm going to just burn that boost to say that you have to roll against 4.
Well, I rolled a 2 on the dice. I've got a 4 in burglary, and my +2 from the stunt makes it an 8.
Wow, this woman is just
2 invokes. In my element.
In your element.
Don't ask me to shoot anybody.
And so where do you leave the building? What do we see with this success with style?
I think it has to be out, like, I imagine that they're probably maybe even like nearby. I imagine that there are cafes and things like that where there are people, evening crowds and things like that. And we have a truck or a lorry, whatever you want to say, that's waiting, that we're just rolling this stuff into in the midst of the crowd, and we're falling in with them, and we just look like laborers.
Yeah, I'd like to go as far as to suggest that we see you wheeling the trolley into one end of an alleyway, and you come out the other end dressed as Paris civic workmen, and just wheel it up into the back of the truck. McFee
pick up our
gets
cones,
in, close it, pick up the cones into the front, wave to the someone who's letting you out, most unusually, and you drive away. Where to, Rook? The hotel?
Do you have a safe house here? Do you have something? Can you get us a safe house?
Yeah, let's get us a safe house. Because I'm in Delta Green, I will spend a fate point to have used my contact in the US Embassy to have found probably an ex-CIA black site or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also imagine as we're driving away, we hear the...
Oh, yes. Sorry. Of course you do. In fact, if I'd been up with this, we'd have had a split screen, which is, here you go into the alleyway. This is some street scene that means nothing to the audience. And then we've got a row of mummy cases. And as you go into the alleyway, there's a kind of as working along. You come out the other side of the alleyway dressed as you are, in, and we're away. Yes, thank you for that reminder. We're going to go cinematic. Let's go cinematic.
Yes.
CIA safe house.
Yes.
Warehouse, apartment. What are we talking about?
I think
McFee wants a boat. We could do a boat
on the Seine.
Oh, I'd like that actually. Yeah.
I think it's a great idea, McFee.
Yeah, like an old
It's a great idea.
like boat with like a shipping container on the back of it, like a big one.
Well, can I suggest on the Seine, it's more likely to be a kind of broad beamed, kind of canal-y, kind of big canal-y boat.
Yeah.
And you drive up, wheel this out, and it, down into the hold. So I think we're in the hold. And then I guess, Rook, you get back from having dumped the truck.
Yes, yeah.
This is it's poorly lit. There's a slight smell of bilge. It's dank. You know, it's this bare, rusting internal space. What do you do? McFee, what are you thinking at this point?
I think McFee thinks it went too well. It's so he's gonna ask Rook, say, you know what? That was easy. Do you find that normal?
I take the wins I can get, McFee. Sooner or later, it's going to get hard, I'm sure.
I'm gonna have a look on the bridge.
Fine.
Yeah.
So go up and just check out. So can I assume at this point McFee is keeping a lookout along the banks of the Seine, yeah? While Rook and Nessa are down in the hold with your mummy, the mask that came with them, which is absolutely smooth. You know, careful. I mean, it's aged over 1,000 years, but 2,000 years, Mother Earth, 2,500 years. But it's still clear that it was worked smooth.
Can I, before we do anything, try and set us up with an advantage for this, which is I want to reach out to my contacts and get a hold of some sort of occult investigator / archaeologist, you know, like a specialist in this kind of thing, basically.
Okay.
Given that we don't have ours.
Okay, yeah, exactly. And because you were expecting to have yours, you're not set up for this, so I'm going to make the difficulty full.
Yeah, that's fine. Oof. That is 0 on the dice. That still leaves me with a +4 to get.
You've got 4 contacts, though, haven't you?
Yeah, but I rolled a 5 on the dark dice. And
oh, so you did.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so I'm on 4 to beat still. I am going to invoke. I think I'm going to invoke Antarctica is old news, because it is people who consulted with us on interpreting that case. You know, like the intelligence work on the whole dig site and the carvings and things that they saw on the door.
Yeah, I go with that.
So that takes me to a +2. And then I'm going to invoke anti-mythos agent of an illegal conspiracy.
If in doubt.
Yes.
So spend a fate point, and that gets you to a tie, I think, yeah?
Yeah.
So this tie is, you were looking to create an advantage, to have a go at this. So you create the aspect long enough to get a boost. So you have someone, you know, on Zoom on your phone, consulting. So you've got a boost, and then they'll be gone.
Yeah.
So what are you going to? What are you going to do, Nessa? What are you thinking?
I'm waiting. I this is like way outside my pay grade. I'm like, I don't know what we do.
Nessa, we need to look at the scroll. We need to work out what the hell we can do with this thing.
Well, you've done bullshit with supernatural stuff before. This is not my.
Listen, do you need me to say you're smarter than I am, Nessa? Okay, that's why I brought you along.
I don't want to look at it. Look at Quinn's. He, you know, we were okay, and then he looked at that freaking Antarctic door, and he went downhill after that. I don't know if I want to look at this thing.
You have to look one way or the other. It's coming.
I will remind you that the time travel briefing says the scroll, written in both Greek and Old Nubian, it has what appears to be a ritual spell to summon, find, or allow passage to the Faceless Mother. And your mission objective is to find and destroy the Faceless Mother.
This would be so much easier if Quinn was here with a gun to his head. Okay, well, let's both look at it then. And see if we can find.
That's when McFee comes down and says, there's a police car. it's gone past once up on the embankment. It's coming back a second time, just so you know.
McFee set off.
But what?
The boat.
Oh,
You're a fisherman.
Yeah.
So using that inherent fisherman skill of drive anything on water,
Of course.
this thing begins to edge out into the middle of the Seine and set off at a discreet pace. And
And then it opens and there's a.
yeah, we could go full James Bond here, but let's see.
Moonraker. Yeah.
What your let's call him David, your occult consultant.
Oh yeah, it's David's a code name, you know. Like
Of course it is.
Agent David. Yeah.
And David, he says, well, look, if send me the photograph that you've taken. I'll transcribe the Greek phonetically, because if this is a ritual, somebody needs to speak the words.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I'll try and make it as much as I can by the numbers, Peter.
What do you recommend we do with? Oh no, Rook's not his name either.
No, I know. That's why he calls you Peter.
Yeah. And Rook just says, "What do you recommend we do with the original?"
That depends. Sometimes the original has power. If what I'm giving you doesn't work, then you have to take the parchment and use it. You know, that it's the artifact that has the power, and you're releasing the power. If you're lucky, you'll just need to say the words. But I wouldn't destroy it until you're certain that its utility is finished.
Alongside it not being able to burn another artifact, and then okay, and we'll wait. I said we'll see. I guess. I suppose is there some sort of, that advantage was going to like to try and we definitely know what we're getting into when we use the scroll. When we use the ritual.
No, this is a one-shot boost on lore to activate the ritual.
Oh, to activate the ritual. Okay, I see. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think we need it.
Yeah, I mean, all he tells you is what your time traveler briefing told you.
Yeah.
That it appears it's to do with the faceless mother, and it's to do with finding her, calling her. I don't know. Now, on the basis that this may be calling her, do you leave McFee up top?
I mean, I'm also cautious about putting her on the boat, but you know what? I don't think I do leave McFee on the boat. What I say is that we need to drift to the middle of the Seine, as far away from anything else as possible, and maybe we do it.
The scorched towers of the cathedral pass on one side.
Nice.
And you, so you're as far from either bank as possible.
Yeah.
And what is McFee? Do you come to all stop, or do you keep the motor running and it's just drifting downstream?
I mean, keep full steam on. You don't stop that thing.
No, exactly. But what I'm trying to work out is, are you turning the engines off and letting it drift?
No, I'm like picking up speed.
So you are picking up speed when you call McFee down. Yeah.
Well, I tell McFee, well, I guess we're going to do it on the boat. Yeah. Should we do that? Because it's either we leave and we go far away and do it, but I just think we may as well do it on the boat. We can always send the boat to the bottom of the ocean if we do summon it, of the river, sorry. Like we blow the boat and the faceless mother sinks.
Maybe we go a little ways down so that we're not just drifting into other boats and stuff.
Yeah, well, let's drive a discrete distance away to where we can sink the boat if we need to.
Several hours later, as the Seine passes through an industrial district of Paris, because I guess it must do at some point, on the edge of Paris, tower blocks in the distance, warehouses and derelict factories around you. Would you? I think probably see you moored up against an old wharf. Yeah. Okay. What do you do? David has messaged you back with a phonetic version of what it says on that scroll.
Okay. Well, you don't. I think
Gimme.
Rook is.
Gimme.
Okay.
Peter. McFee. If anything happens to me, his name is Peter, not Rook.
Do you think it's Peter?
Well, he looks like a Peter, now that you say it.
I was Agent Beatrice once.
Beatrix, Peter.
Nessa, are you doing this from the phone picture, or are you cracking the box and taking the parchment out?
I will take the parchment out. I'm going to do this from the parchment because now I'm like, okay, let's see if they can actually do this. I kind of want to know now. I don't
how
really
it
want
works.
to, but I do want to know.
We are fully loaded, by the way. I think like machine guns, shotguns, grenades, etc. Like
because
the whole
in every appropriate heist, this is your safe house. So I think you just self-compelled. You have to know how that works because it stopped me having to tell you that Nessa was going to read it.
Yeah. So let me see here. So I think that's lore, right?
It is. I think the difficulty is probably 3.
Okay.
But you have a single boost to read.
And now is that a +1 or a +2? I forgot.
That's +2. But it's a single use, then it's gone.
Okay. So right now, if we use the boost, we're standing at a 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would be a 2 total. Let's invoke something. Let me take a look here. I think this is, once again, I'm going to have to invoke that the faceless mother waits hungrily. I think that's pretty clearly what's going on here.
Yeah, it should have been more difficult, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
So spend a fate point, mark a resistant success, and you are standing on a stone floor. Around you is a sickly green glow. The space is illuminated by a sickly green glow. And as you look around you, that sickly green glow is tied down to an incredibly complicated network of webs. It's as though you've materialized in a hemisphere, and the space around you is just full of web. But as you look, as you kind of acclimatize to that, you can see that that web has got kind of funnels or tunnels in it that are, person-sized. The other thing that you're immediately aware of is the echoing sound of moans and perhaps crying and perhaps the occasional scream. But it's very difficult to tell where it comes from because this web is doing funny stuff to the way sound moves. Because as you speak, sometimes it feels like it just swallows the sound. And then other times it feels like you speak at that web, tunnel in the web, and you hear your voice behind you.
Can I get a sense of like where the moans are coming from?
That's the difficulty. The experience with the sounds you make suggests that sometimes the sound is being carried down these tunnels and coming out somewhere else. So all I can tell you at this point is that there is a situation aspect in play, which is moaning all around you.
And I don't see the others.
Yes,
It's
you
just
do.
me.
All
I
three
do.
of you are there.
Okay. Then...
As indeed is the trolley, the mummy, and the mask, and even the perspex box that you took the papyrus out of.
I will pick up the mask to carry with me, and I will say, let's pick a tunnel.
Flick on flashlights. I think McFee must have his flamethrower, right? And I grab the scroll in the box and I chuck it into a duffel bag I've got around my back.
So you're putting the parchment back in that and setting it up
Yeah.
again. Interestingly, Nessa, you do notice as Rook does that the battery symbol has gone down a lot.
We don't have much time before this thing, that scroll is gone.
Should you accept this mission, Mr. Phelps?
None of this ever came with a guarantee we'd be getting out of here.
Absolutely. You first.
Nods. McFee, you got the rear.
Yeah. If in doubt, incinerate the retreating route. So I think I'm seeing, this web is so dense. It's almost like walking on foam. It's not hugely sticky. I don't want to create this kind of D&D giant spider thing. It isn't sticky. It's spongy underfoot. It's weird stuff. There is an aspect in play called labyrinthine tunnels through the web.
Well, I think we're going to go and use as much notice as we can to guide us.
Okay. I think that you have been going through this, what looks like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Again, sometimes the moans rise and you think they're just down that fork. When that happens, Rook, do you head towards the moaning or away from it?
I think we have to check it out, because otherwise we're just walking in the dark, aren't we? So yeah.
Okay. What you see is that only about a dozen of them, human, dry-skinned, ragged, barely clothed, but without any faces. And based on what future Rook told you before he died, Rook, these are some of the faceless. Mm. And as soon as you come around a corner, Rook, they charge at you. What do you do?
Open fire.
Okay.
Yell for McFee to get that flamethrower up here. But I will lay down a suppressing fire first,
Okay. So this swarm of the faceless will come at you. They are using athletics to try and dodge the shots as they come at you.
Yeah. Can I use this to create the aspect instead, to say that I'm holding them off with my machine gun fire?
Create advantage, hold them off.
Yeah.
Let's do that. I think difficulty is 2, but I am going to invoke their high concept, which is a swarm of abomination. So there are quite a lot of them. I'll spend a fate point. And so your difficulty is 4.
Okay.
Create advantage, hold them off.
Cool. Well, I have 5 on the light dice and 1 on the dark, so that's negated all of that, and I have a +5 in shoot.
Success with
And
style.
I have a stunt and shoot as well that applies here, I think. No, that would be attack, wouldn't it? So no, it wouldn't.
It would. Unless, yeah, you could mix it up with them, Rook, but it wouldn't keep them. So yeah, so you know, and they have a peculiarly kind of brittle, dry sense about them, and so when you do hit them, you know, bits puff off.
I think it's like a burst, and it goes through the chest, and just keep coming, and then I just start kneecapping like as they like bang, 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 bang.
And you know they begin to edge towards you, but you have 2 free invokes on keeping them away, which I think gives McFee the option to get alongside, because it's not, these aren't tight tunnels, these are, you know, this is easily 2 abreast. So McFee with the kind of on the flamethrower,
cigar in the mouth. Yeah, let's crisp those.
Let's light them up.
Burgers.
You don't need to roll for this, McFee. I suppose you do. Yes, there could be a major cost. Yeah, you have to. I do need you to roll, but difficulty here is 1, and you have
I got 1.
You have a free invoke on Rook's advantage.
Okay, so let's roll. Come on. -2 + 1 -1. Okay, so my Google.
So you're on -2 at the minute, because they're difficulty was +2 +1. You could invoke keeping them away for free, and that would get you to a tie.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, so on a tie, you burn them up, and normally the attacker would get a boost on a tie, but I think in this case, yeah, I'll give you the boost. Just keep that in your back pocket to decide what you do next. But there's this kind of, and they just go up like tinder. But also it creates a great void in the web. And you can see that the initial kind of burst of flame burns a lot of this web away. But then you can see that it continues to burn slowly. Okay, so I am now going to add a situation aspect, which I would call web on fire, ... Nessa, you're at the back and you can hear the moaning, the screaming, the crying getting closer. What do you do?
I'm going to brace myself, like go to one knee, and start pulling together whatever I've got in my pack, and kind of waiting. This may be the way we start drawing her to us. Oh no, I'm so delicious. And I'm like, I'm just waiting.
And that seems to be a ploy worth taking, because what comes up the tunnel towards you is
boy,
that.
oh boy.
And though the illustration doesn't show it terribly well, but around her abdomen here, for want of a better description.
I can see the faces. Yeah, they're pretty
you
clear.
can see the faces.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, they're pretty clear.
And they bubble to the surface, screaming, and then are subsumed back in. So another one bubbles to the surface, screaming and moaning. And in fact, it feels now that you're up closer that the moaning is just muffled screaming as they are drawn back within the faceless mother. And you will notice that mother is faceless. So that is what you see coming towards you. Oh, you are muted.
This is not a question I ever thought I would want the answer to. Does it have a mouth?
No. It is faceless.
Okay. I scream.
That seems an appropriate response. I won't make you roll to to provoke a reaction from Rook and from McFee. The all-consuming spider goddess has arrived on scene. That would seem to me to be the obvious place that we would insert a commercial break.
Yes.
Back here on the hour?
Yep.
Okay, I'll see you then. I will pause the recording. We're back for our final act in this episode after our commercial break, and we left with Nessa screaming as the faceless mother approached. Nessa, in your head, you hear a slight chittering that says, "Oh, my child, do not fear." Would you resist with will, please? Difficulty is, I think, 2, and I will spend another fate point to invoke all-consuming spider goddess. She is rolling to create advantage. Difficulty 4 against will.
I have a 4.
Oh, so that's a tie. Okay, so on a tie, partially succeed. She learns that you have the aspect, have to know how that works. So she now has a free invoke on have to know how that works. And she says, "Come closer, and I will show you how my web is a wonderful thing the closer you look at it." So she is now rolling deceive with 3. And I am going to use that free invoke on you have to know how it works to make the difficulty 5.
Oh, are you now?
With will. Looks like it's the big leagues, Nessa.
Okay. No. But and geez, I would have to actually spend 2 to make it not success with style.
So anyone else want to invoke an aspect to help Nessa out?
Nessa reminds me of my good old wife.
And what does that look like in the fiction to making it advantageous to Nessa in her current situation?
I don't want to imply really bad things. I would say that the relationship between McFee and his wife was mutually rather physical, but McFee is gonna slap Nessa out of it.
Okay, so McFee spend the fate point. Nessa, you now have 2 to find.
Well, I'm going to fail, but I don't want to fail like to give her a victory with success. So I'm going to spend one of my fate points because I think that it's that moment when in the back of my brain, I've been in lots of places, I've lived all over, and there's always a horrible spider myth. There's always a horrible spider story. And I think that all of whatever nightmares I had as a kid come back from that. And I'm going to take Child of Many Cultures. I'm going to fail, but not with
catastrophic outcomes.
Catastrophic.
Can we invoke a timeline aspect?
I don't know.
Sure.
Well, I was thinking that the spy, the faceless mother, is like trying to tempt you, but as she awaits hungrily, there's something. Oh, she doesn't have a mouth. But she just
She overplays her hand.
She overplays her hand, and she just just not patient enough before she reached for you to try to capture you, to consume you.
And just to be clear, you have to succeed in the roll to mark a resistant success. That doesn't mean you can't invoke it, but you won't necessarily get resistant success unless that turns it into a success.
I spend one of my 2 remaining fate points to push that over the top to get success.
Okay, mark a
Thank
resistant
you.
success.
Thank you, McFee.
And when you know, the slap across the face, and she's just sitting there so quietly. So Nessa, how do we know that you're back?
I think it's that I'm scrambling backwards and just putting my gear in front of me like a talisman and trying to get this launcher up to fire something in her not face.
Fine. So that sounds like shoot. I know you get to use craft when you're doing this, don't you?
Yes.
This is your homemade thing, your MacGyver device.
Yes.
I think I will give her a chance to dodge using athletics. So difficulty is 3.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and while I'm at it, I'm spending another fate point to, what does it say? Surrounded by her brood. Spend a fate point to summon a swarm of the faceless. So Rook, a swarm of the faceless are coming through that space that McFee opened up, clambering up the web towards you.
So that will be a 4. And I think I'm going to have to stick with that because I've only got 1 fate point left.
Okay, so that is success. Success by 1 means that you...
No. You know what I'm going to do?
Okay.
She is hungry and she is coming at me. I'm going to spend my last fate point to bump it up to a 3 above what she gave me. So success with style, 3 successes, and whatever comes what may, we'll see what happens, but it's another resistance success.
Do you want to inflict that 3 as harm, or do you want to trade some of that for boosts?
Can I hand that boost off?
Oh yeah.
Then I will do 2 harm and pass a boost on to whoever goes next.
Okay, McFee, what do you do?
Well, I'm gonna try to crisp that thing. As soon as I'm going to step in front of Rook and Nessa and just go all fire and fury on it.
I can't but see McFee step in front of Nessa, saying, "Stay away from her, you bitch." At which point, okay, that is shoot. Again, I think I'm going to use her physique to resist this because I don't think she can dodge it. Her physique is 4. And you know, I'm going to make this really shitty difficult for you. I'm going to spend my last fate point, because this is the final saloon. I'm going to invoke full control of her pocket dimension as a space opens up in front of McFee in the web, causing him to just stumble. So difficulty is 6.
I made 1.
Oh, so tremendous. So that's not very good. In fact, I think I will have you stumble into that hole that she's conjured up, and afflict you with capture in her web. You are now webbed in place, so you need to free yourself. So you fall into this. It's not a deep, big hole, but it's, you know, it's a space, and you're now webbed into it because the web begins to move around you. Rook, as I say, a swarm of the faceless are coming at you.
I swear as I see McFee, and then, you know, I can see these ones like crawling, and I just like start firing away, pulling out my pistol and shooting at the same. Very John Wicking, the whole thing.
Okay. And let's see how that goes then.
Yeah.
Difficulty, I think athletics just 2, because they are, you know, clambering up the web. They're not able to run at you yet.
Cool. So I tie on the die. I have a +5 in shoot, and these are unnatural creatures.
They
so
are.
I get 7 on the dice.
Ho,
7.
ho, ho. You are a remarkable. So success with 5. So you've got 5 harm to inflict, or you can convert one of those into a boost.
Well, I already have the aspect keeping them away, right?
You have that to play with.
Yeah. So I think I will just go straight for the 5 harm. Like.
And you know, it is just like a John Wick movie where, you know, as one comes over the lip of the tunnel, bang, falls away. Another one crawls round from one's, bang, away. And you take out the entire swarm because they're not difficult to kill. There's just a lot of them. And I notice I have now used up my fate points, so she can't summon another one. Nessa, she's on the other side of this kind of space, this pit. I've created a pit trap. And she is beginning to move around the pit trap towards you on the wall. What do you do, Nessa? Oh, you are muted.
That's when I'm going to WD-40 the shit out of the ceiling. Essentially, I'm going to spray any kind of lubricant or thing I have in my pack up. Yeah, I know she's Lovecraftian and supernatural, and this defies physics, but it's still at least going to potentially create an advantage.
Okay, so create advantage using crafts, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, using a sticky bomb or a de-sticky bomb.
Yes.
Difficulty, I'm going to use her athletics for this one, so that's 3.
Well, that is a 3.
So we're on a tie. So on a tie to create an advantage, partially succeed. You create a boost, not an advantage. So
Okay.
There's a one-shot use.
Then I'll hand yet another boost off to whoever goes next, which I think is Rook.
Yeah, Rook, you bought some time from the Faceless. McFee's in a hole. Nessa has done, and so you can see that the Faceless Mother having to redeploy her limbs on the web. What do you do?
Stretches them out.
You know, she's occupied. I think I sprint and I leap down to the to grab onto the web next to McFee, and I start hacking away with a knife, like one eye, like fuck, as I look up at the Faceless Mother.
Okay, so you use the time you have. This includes the boost you have from her. I think this is probably brute strength, I have to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
physique.
it's physique.
Okay.
And the difficulty, I think, is probably 3. The longer you leave him there, the more the web begins to engulf him.
Cool. So I get a +2 from the boost. Is that right?
You do?
So I am on 1, 3, 4 right now. So I've succeeded.
Physique 3, boost is 2 is 5, plus the dice is showing me. Oh, I see. Yeah. Sorry. Okay.
No worries.
So success. You drag McFee free, just as she leaps at Nessa.
Can I suggest that like we're holding on, and like I pull McFree free, like the web tears, and we swing over to the side of the pit, like.
Absolutely. And so you land beside Nessa at the point when the Faceless Mother reaches Nessa. Now Lowell's had to step away, so why don't you tell me, McFee, what you're going to? Oh,
sorry, I locked Sherry out, so I need to go
just in time.
So what I was just describing, Lowell, was that Rook and McFee. Rook has torn McFee free of the web, and grabbed a piece of web to swing across to where you are, just at the point the Faceless Mother comes up close and personal to you. What do you do, Nessa? He used that boost, by the way.
Yeah, I think I'm going to jam whatever I have that is flammable, like the last bit of propane, like try to kick it under her as we light it. Anything that will get us some space.
This doesn't feel like you've had time to MacGyver this up. It sounds like Desperate Straits. I think this is fight.
Okay.
She fights at 4.
I do not fight at 4.
But toe to toe with an all-consuming spider goddess. Shit,
Yeah.
Nessa.
Yeah. So that gets me that it's all a 0.
So you tied.
No. I failed.
You got a 0 altogether. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're on -4. She will do 4 points of physical stress to you, but you can split that with mental if you want to.
My total is actually a 2, so it'll be 2 points.
2 points. I beg your pardon.
That's okay.
So you can split it as sheer terror or physical harm.
Would I have healed the shoulder from the last session?
You would have done if Avery had been about, because we'd have used our academics to do some work on it.
Okay, then I'm going to mark 2 points of mental stress.
Okay, because it's as much about the terror as everybody else. The good thing is, because she only succeeded by 2, she did not succeed with style, so she does not web you in place. McFee, Nessa is toe to toe with the spider goddess. What do you do?
I'm gonna punch it. Fire doesn't seem to work.
Okay, so that is fight against 4.
You might not have a face. My fist gonna find it anyway.
So fight against 4. Look at that, plus on the dice. Oh, you are muted.
I'm muted, and I've got +3 in fight, so I got 5.
5 against her 4 is success. So you do 1 point of harm on the all-consuming spider goddess, but she's still coming. Rook, what do you do?
I reach down to the duffel bag and pull out my shotgun and just start unloading into it.
Okay, I'll warn you now, costs will be harm to the other characters.
Okay.
Yeah, because nothing's more important than the mission, Rook. So this
can I accept that as a compel?
No, it's just a consequence of using a shotgun while two people are in hand-to-hand combat.
It's heavy slugs though, rather than bookshot.
It is. I think that I'm going to use her physique here because it's simply the capacity to shrug off these attacks. So physique is 4.
Okay. Wow, well, that's a +5 on the dice already. So I've beaten it there. I have a 7 in total, so I'm at 12.
12 against 4. That is success by 8. Would you like to trade any of that for boosts?
I would love to trade. You know what? 2 of those for boosts.
Okay, you get 2 boosts that you can use shortly. That means you inflict 6 points of harm, and she explodes.
Oh wow! I think I blow off like one of those limbs, and then a boom, 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 boom.
And all of you are drenched in this glowing, viscous fluid. But then you notice. No, I'm not going to do that to you. That would be far too cruel. Yeah, you were drenched in viscous fluid. Yeah. It's like the end of a Ghostbusters episode. So what do you do? Nessa, what's going through your mind right now?
What's going through my mind is, where is there a faucet? Where is there a bottle of water? Where is there anything that I can get this off of my face and skin?
Not obviously in this space or pocket dimension, depending on how you want to describe it.
Then I'm just freaking out.
Rook.
We've got to get the fuck out of here. How the hell do we get out now?
Well, that's a very good question. McFee, any reaction does the audience see?
McFee kind of lunged forward and there seem to be faces in its abdomen. McFee may be thinking that there were some kind of victims that could be saved from there. So he's having a look for that.
Nothing. They are the vague impressions of the souls that she has consumed. So yeah, the hard question now is, what are you going to do?
I grab Nessa and like shake her, and I'm like, Nessa, we gotta go. And I think you can see the fire of the web flickering off in the distance. You know, like
how? Like, give me the book. Give me the scroll, quick.
Yeah.
Before it goes away.
Scroll.
Oh.
There's no place like home. Remember, guys.
I don't think we were ever in Oz.
No,
but
and I am.
We're not in Kansas either.
Neither there. Yeah.
While Nessa's doing all this, I'm like getting all of my remaining grenades and just rigging them like nearby. You know, like dead man switches and stuff.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. Claymore here.
So, I think McFee's gonna start kicking stuff around, and maybe it could create an advantage because when I give Mythos tech artifacts, I have no clue about a kick and risk them activating.
I tossed the duffel bag to McFee. I'm
no,
like,
McFee, I don't think it's about that. It's about the scroll.
Yeah, but it has
what
a
I think. I see. Sorry.
Right.
So what I see is McFee tearing open the perspex container, so that any chance of it being
no, it's the surroundings, the space.
But the Mythos tech is the parchment.
Okay.
Yes.
And he's kind of just work, you fucking bastard, work. And I think I'm going to give you that advantage when you roll with law against a difficulty of 2. And you will struggle to invoke the Faceless Mother waits hungrily for at least an eon.
But that's McFee rolling, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, you're doing all the work on this one, McFee.
Okay.
And you're reciting what you seem to remember Nessa said.
Okay, so I got 1 on my roll, and normally what I do is I get a +2 to my investigate, which is 2 nowadays, so that's a 5.
I'm going to give you that because it's too good not to use. So that's 5 against 2. You materialize back in the bowels of your barge.
Easy. It worked! Good job, Nessa!
And then the parchment sheet crumbles to dust.
We're back!
You are muted.
Now I'm running for the sink.
Fine. The nearest water is the pooled water around you, which is pretty awful and a bit oily, but it's better than what's on you.
Yeah.
And so you have destroyed the Faceless Mother. It is time to decide what effect you have had on the timeline with all of that. So I am seeing Nessa 4 resistance successes and Rook 2. So let's go to the time traveler track. So that is 6 all told. So that's 1, 2, 3, and a ripple. 4.
Was that a success with the drunk guy?
There was. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
If you
So
don't
7,
mark it,
yeah.
I won't remember. So that gets you to another 4 successes. That's a second ripple. But I think I did manage to get one of you to succeed on at a cost.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that as a bonus to the Great Old Ones, who currently are on a losing streak. So you have 2 ripples. I'm going to come to. I think I'm going to come to McFee first. So far, you have tended to focus on the final event. And given that's the only one we've got left to play, it would seem reasonable to think about that.
Okay. So I can turn something into a plus?
You can.
I'd like to do something with person.
Okay. So previously, Nur al-Hassan was going to be reborn. We haven't worried about where Hassan is this episode. He's probably feeling very nervous in a hotel room somewhere. So last time we improved that, and now we know he never becomes president, but it's an open question as to who becomes president. So if you turned it to positive, I would allow you to know who becomes Pharaoh al-Aswad.
We cannot pick.
Well, I'd be open to that.
Okay. I don't know if we can just.
I've got a candidate, but I'm very happy for you to.
I'd like to put my son there.
Oh my goodness me! McFee's son is reborn as Pharaoh al-Aswad, the Dark Pharaoh. Oh my God. So now you know exactly who that is. So they could be a target in our final session. So that's one ripple in time. Before we do the next one, I think I am going to rewrite the timeline aspect on this event. So I'm going to rewrite it as the Faceless Mother is angry at Nyarlathotep. If I could spell it. The Faceless Mother is angry because you can't destroy the Faceless Mother, but you can take her out and stop her acting. And so while her life is far from boring, she is angry that she can no longer consciously act in even her pocket dimension. Okay, and that one seems to me to be fair. Okay, let me go. I don't know. I think did we go to Rook last time for Action Hero? So Rook, where do you want to spend the second ripple in time?
I want to spend it on beginning at the Great Pyramids, but it's a place. And I think it's that we know where we can. I don't have a specific place in mind, but we'll know where it's going to take place. You know, like we'll have and it will be somewhere that we can, somewhere beneficial in a slight way. You know, like
it kind of has to be somewhere in Egypt, otherwise
Yeah.
the Pharaoh thing doesn't work.
Yeah, but like rather than you know, spilling out the Great Pyramids, which I understand are quite close to Cairo, maybe somewhere further remote, or you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
Does it have to
it's
be
right on the.
I mean-
It's right on the edge of the city.
Yeah, I guess it's Nyarlathotep team, but if we change Hassan to my son, maybe you could change the location to somewhere else exotic also.
I think we have
don't
to
know.
stick with the Egyptian theme,
Okay.
Nyarlathotep. Beginning at a remote pyramid. So you can tie it down a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not streaming out of like loads of pyramids at once. It's just coming from a particular
One.
place. Yeah.
The
Fine.
Valley of the Death.
Well, yeah, you know, Valley of the Kings, or conceivably even some more ancient pyramid lost in, you know,
The
southern
source of
Egypt,
the Nile.
North Sudan.
Maybe with a Djinn seal in there somewhere. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
For all we know, yeah, the seal of Ra may play a part in this. Sorry, in joke. viewers and players. I think that works. I think we've rewritten the Faceless Mother timeline aspect. We're not in a Nyarlathotep still has a plan, but you have increasingly constrained it. Now, we have end of session. I'm going to allow you to get rid of the minor consequences at this point, included Avery's bloodied. And in fact, none of the harm that happened during that dream am I going to keep as real. If you lot had taken it because you had a chance to act, I might have kept it, but I don't think it's fair to leave Avery sitting on that because they're not here. They were simply a cat's paw. But technically they are missing. But I will have you all back together next time. What else? Let's do a quick stars and wishes because I'm trying to keep track of what you've wanted. So
are we recording them this time?
I usually do.
Okay, cool. I think we didn't last time. But
oh, really? Okay.
Either way.
Yeah, I might have left a lot of that. It's what I do. Lowell, any stars?
So I had a good time. I had a little bit more chance for us to get a little more interaction with McFee today, and we got to play off a little bit of things. That opening sequence was very good for illustrating who we were. So I quite liked that. It is interesting to see Agent Rook's the mission is everything, but then there's that moment when he jumps down and saves McFee. And I really like that. Like that was a good moment where when it came to the clinch, you are going to save us. And I thought that was good. So
yeah, I thought it was because I don't know what you expected, Lowell. I thought he'd use the boost and shoot the queen, the Faceless Mother. Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
It was good. So I had a lot of good time tonight. Good stuff.
Yeah, that was a cool bit. Will, yes, Will. Any stars?
I enjoyed Nessa just being like the perfect character for breaking into a museum and stealing it and burning it down behind us. And stepping up into Quinn's, law magic stuff. I thought it was quite good to get onto that. McFee, the timeline change about your son is easily the best one, but also, the flamethrower and getting drunk in a student bar. And Alan, the masks of Nyarlathotep made an appearance, didn't they? And I enjoyed the fight. It turns out the Faceless Mother is easier to kill than a Shoggoth.
It is. That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Well, technically she's unkillable, but she's now taken out for an eon.
Yeah. But I would have been fine with the Shoggoth just going away for an eon.
Great. And finally, Callum.
I really enjoyed the pieces of dialogue, the little scene you brought, Lowell. I really like that you had an interaction with each of us today, and I thought it was nice to have this bit of role play. I really like the Faceless Mother, and I really look forward to using the timeline aspect. The Faceless Mother is angry, and see how we use that in game.
Yeah, I think that Nyarlathotep may come to regret the loss of the Faceless Mother. My stars, Nessa Al-Ghumari, gentlewoman, cracks person. I loved that Rook surprised us with that, what he did with the boost with the mother, and McFee. Yeah, I think that is I hadn't thought of that. My candidate was going to be the Right Reverend Leroy Anderson, but your son is a much better bet. Any wishes? Background, Lowell, anything you particularly want to see in our climactic finale?
When I GM and somebody says this, I'm always like, I'm loving it. I just want to see more. That's all I'm going to say. That's my wish. I'm ready to go with wherever we go. Absolutely.
Okay, Will.
I would like, because Quinn has the Trapezohedron, I would like some sort of occult solution or weapon or something to present itself as a temptation for party drama.
Yeah. I think the trapezohedron. I'm quite impressed. I can now say that word, trapezohedron, just like that.
I guess if I have a wish, I would say I would love like a love letter thing for Bodhi. I'm sure you're going to do that, but yeah.
That is around the trapezohedron that they have run off with. But I will hope to set it up in a way that means that you don't spend all of the climax looking over your shoulder at what they're doing, and you can focus on the kind of plot as well as that slight suspicion. And Kaloum, any wishes?
I'm a bit disappointed with my co-players because it just came short of phrasing my wish, which is I really wish Bodhi that they will be back with us to play the next session.
I've no reason to suggest that they won't. But is there something you want to see apart from having Bodhi back, which frankly is outside my power?
I mean, I modified the timeline aspect to get what I want to see, so fine. I don't want to be needy.
Now, I do have a question that I want to put to you all, because the question now is whether we skip forward 8 years to the day that this happens, and we have the climactic session at the point when Nyarlathotep rises.
I like that. I like ellipses. They are underused nowadays. I find,
because there is no mission after this. The timeline, the time traveler briefings dry up because those were the events. As far as they're concerned, problem solved. The only way you can find that is to be there on the day.
I like it because it gives us some opportunities to come up with cool aspects about the stuff which happened over those 8 years, and we can come up with flashbacks or dialogues like just like Budapest again, things like that.
So I'm going to open the books on this one. Don't feel particularly limited. You'll get the increase in your refresh. You'll get the skill improvements. But if you want to change more than one aspect or even more than 2 aspects to kind of fill out the 8 years, I'm very happy for you to do that. Okay?
My only thing with it being 8 years is that it feels like 8 years is a long time for us to prepare for anything. So, I mean, I agree with the long, I'm just saying we've changed the timeline, right? And Nyarlathotep is concerned about us.
So maybe he doesn't wait.
Yeah. So I mean, like,
okay, yeah, let's bring him forward rather than you pushing you late.
But
a few months.
Date.
Yeah. We have some time.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, even years. But I'm just saying, like, we had a definite date. Now we have I leave it to Alan's discretion.
No, I think that's quite cool. I think what Avery will probably tell us is that the conjunction in 2028 will be recreated in 2021 or late in 2020. Yeah, no, that's a neater one actually, because otherwise you could be too prepared in a way.
It's like we have strategic nuclear missiles arrayed around the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Use your contacts to get control of the football. Okay. Right. I don't want this to end. I had a great time. Thank you very much. Let me finish the recording.